This podcast was produced on the lands of the Cubby Cubby people. We pay respects to elders past, present, and emerging, and thank them for how they have lovingly cared for and preserved the land, natural resources, and bush medicine in which we are inspired by today.
Hello and welcome to the Students of Natural Health podcast. My name is Dana Laura. I'm a student naturopath from Australia, and I'm going to be your host for this episode. Now, joining me on today's episode, we have the amazing Paris. She is a second-year naturopathy student and the face behind Studious Naturopath. Hello, Paris. How are you going?
Hello, I'm so good. How are you?
Really good. I'm so glad to finally chat to
Yay.
you. Between all the technical difficulties, all the sick
Oh,
children, we've
I
gotten
know.
there in the end.
I know. The universe aligned today is perfect.
I have got a couple of questions that I'm dying
Mhm.
to ask you,
Okay.
and it's just about your experience as a student naturopath. We'll be delving into like previous study. We'll also be
Mhm.
talking about what life is like juggling motherhood and study. You're one of the first mothers
Totally.
I'm interviewing.
Crazy for me to even like think about. I'm like, I still don't believe it's real that I'm a mum, but anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
it's definitely a different experience studying with children. And
Mm.
finally, I want to pick your brains about the studious naturopath. Let's jump into it.
Let's do it.
So, my first question for you is why did you choose naturopathy?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people can resonate that it's all to do with our own personal health issues. When I was about 18, this is like the true story that really like put me into this line of work
Yeah,
was
bring it.
I was 18 and I was playing sport and I tore my ACL. And I went for surgery. And after I got out of surgery, no one told me I could walk. And so I sat in bed for a few days and I got a blood clot that was like 23 centimeters up my leg. Like it was insane. And I thought I was pretty healthy at the time, but when I look back, I was not, I drank, I ate terribly, did not take care of myself. And yeah, I got a blood clot and had to get Clexane and all those types of things. But at the same time, I was dealing with like horrendous acne, weight gain, PMS, just like the classic signs of estrogen dominance that I had no idea about. And so I had my blood clot diagnosed, got onto Clexane, and I was at uni at the time studying nursing, and we were studying pharmacology at the time. And so got my blood clot diagnosis. A week later, had to go back to uni, and we were learning about the pill. And I was learning, and they were like, the pill increased your risk of blood clots. Like a few days before I went to uni, I had gone to my doctor and been like, hey, I have terrible acne. What can you do to help me? And she went, let's double your pill, double your dose with an active blood clot. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I didn't think anything of it. Went to uni and they were said all these things about the blood clots. So I went back and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you doubling my dose with an active blood clot? And she goes, oh, okay, we'll stop it and you can get the bar. And I was like, oh my gosh, no. Went home, did a bunch of research, and I feel like a few people know who this is, but do you know Sarah's Day?
Yes.
Yes. I was hugely into her back when she was like all into her health journey, really following along with like, she was seeing a naturopath. And I remembered and I was like, I need to figure out who that naturopath is because she was helped through her acne and her coming off the pill. And I was like, I'm going to go to him. And so at the time, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to stop the pill and go see this guy named Hayden Keys, which was in Sydney. And
Yeah.
at the time, like, well, that would have been like 2017. Naturopathy wasn't really talked about. Like, it wasn't something,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't even realize it was a degree. Anyway, went and saw him, and he just really showed me how the body works beyond any of my degree that I'd already been studying, any units. And I was like, why is this not taught? Like, I was so invested in that. And he showed me about estrogen dominance and he told me about how your hormones work. And he was like, it was so dangerous of your doctor to put you back on the pill, double the dose while you had an active blood clot. So, anyway, he helped me through getting off the pill. He helped me through, vascular health and all those types of things. And then I would always ask him, like, what is a naturopath? Like, how did you get into that? And so that kind of like that story essentially drove me into that path of figuring out that I could actually work in that field. And it just made me so excited. And at the same time, I was really into nutrition, like changing my nutrition. And I was listening to the Plant Proof podcast, if you know what that was. He really talked about like the power of plants and how nutrition can, increase your longevity and, reverse chronic diseases. And I was so into it after I kind of went on this like health kick journey. Then that really like set into me that I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And it was actually really hard because I was studying nursing and knew then I wanted to leave already and wanted to do something else. But I was like, no, I need to have a profession under my belt because I really didn't trust it at the time. I didn't know that it could be successful. Like I just wasn't immersed in that.
So you kept studying it and you were fighting with that
Urge to
internal
do something
battle.
else. Yeah. And it was internally frustrating as a student, as a nurse, like throughout my entire studies. I always found myself wondering, is this ethically right for me to do this? Like, do
Yeah.
I feel like, should I stop and should I be a naturopath or do I need to keep going and maybe try and make a difference in this world because I've got this knowledge now? So that's kind of like the motivation why I chose to keep going with nursing was to see if I could possibly make a difference. And then I knew that naturopathy was going to be my long-term goal. So I was like, okay, I could finish and then go on to naturopathy. So yeah, that's been like my motivation.
There's so many things I want to touch on with that. That's amazing. An
Sorry,
incredible
I word vomited.
No, not at all. That's an incredible story. And one thing I want to say is talking back to when you first started finding this information about influencers, like that just goes to show how influential they are.
Yeah. Actually though,
Yeah, like
honestly, yeah.
I like Sarah. Well, I know that some of
Back then.
Sarah's Day's stuff can be a bit problematic, but
Mhm. Mhm.
there has the fact that you took the right message from that and went, I would like
Yeah.
to go see a naturopath
Yeah.
because that's really helped this person. So well done, you. I also
Totally.
want to say that I'm so sorry that you've had that experience in the Western medical system with that
Yeah.
particular doctor. Like that's unfortunately seems to sometimes be a common thing. And
Mm.
this is a whole other conversation talking about like
Mm.
women's how they're not valued in the healthcare
Mm.
system and how we have to
Totally.
really, really advocate for what we want. That's incredible that you had that knowledge and that proof
Mm.
to
Mm.
go, what are you doing? Like this is not
Yeah.
a normal this
Mm.
is not the protocol that I
Doesn't
should
make
be
sense.
on.
It's
It's
like
dangerous.
actually dangerous. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So, and it just goes to show, like, I hope for anybody listening and they might be having these internal battles
Mm.
themselves with something doesn't quite feel right with what's they're being told from an
Mm.
quote unquote expert,
Mhm.
is to do your own research. You are the expert in your body. You are the only person that lives in your body. And if something doesn't feel right, you need to follow that and start teaching yourself. Um,
Totally.
and it's sad that a lot of us women are drawn to these sort of subjects and are getting, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars into debt because we feel like we need this knowledge and we can't get it from other people. So
Yep.
we are going into debt
Yep.
to live and cope
Mhm.
with our illnesses ourselves. Oh, sorry, I'm going on a bit of a tangent too. I had a
Okay.
very nice little point that I wanted to circle back to. Your nursing,
Mm.
what an incredible thing though that you've stuck it out because that is going to make you such an incredible naturopath. You have so much knowledge about the Western medicine
Mm.
system, and I'm sure you've got little like sensors that are going off when you are talking to somebody.
Totally. Oh, totally. Yeah, I think this may sound controversial, but like this is just personally my opinion.
It's an honest
I think
space, like bring
Yeah,
it.
and I think this is going to be something that people can reflect on and truly, maybe this is just something that maybe needs to be taught more in the unis is it could be potentially problematic. And I can see why people maybe take like, oh, is naturopathy legitimate?
Yeah.
Only because if you say someone finishes school, goes straight to naturopathy, and hasn't had like time in the Western medicine world in like picking up real emergencies
Yeah. Yep.
that You know what I mean? And I'm not knocking that people don't have that knowledge, but they're not necessarily taught on how to pick up when you might need to refer. Does that make sense?
Like, are you talking about in the sense that a naturopath might go, I can heal everything? Like, I'm not going to
Yes,
refer on because of
because they
I
might
don't
not
believe in the Western
realize,
medical system kind of
or
thing.
they just simply might not realize that this actually is a sepsis. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah. And I haven't personally had that, but I've always thought nursing will give me in ways the upper hand just to fully understand where that line is. And I hope that because I haven't done my clinical units yet, so I
Yeah.
don't know what's being taught. And I feel like they would be teaching how to pick up sepsis, how to pick up cardiac arrest, because I'm pretty sure guys end up doing first aid courses, which is awesome. So I feel like I've had conversations with people and they go, would it be better that naturopathy was something you needed to do after a more professionalized degree? Do you know what I mean? Where you've
Yeah.
worked in the healthcare system. But I don't necessarily think that that's true in ways because it's kind of like a leech. You get sucked into that like Western medicine and people just don't genuinely want to be in that world. And I personally want to be out of it. So I don't know. I guess my point is saying like, I hope that the unis give a lot of education on how to pick up really critical conditions that need medical attention because there's a place for it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know in my
Yeah.
personal experience, like I've got little bits of background in Western
Yeah.
medical too. I
Yeah.
didn't go the full yards and finish the degree, but like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
that is something that I am cautious of as well.
Yeah. Totally.
But something I've had in my studies so far, I don't know if it's because I've had really amazing teachers, it might be the
Yeah.
institution I've gone to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's been very known that naturopathy should work in tandem with people's conditions. Like generally, I think a lot of the people that do, this is a generalization, but a lot of the people that
Mm.
do come and see naturopaths are
Mm.
people that already have pre-existing conditions, whether it's a heart problem, whether it's diabetes, like anything like that. And
Totally.
as a sound naturopath, you should
Mm.
try and work with them and in tandem, like
Mm.
we're complementary
Mm.
to the
Yeah.
medical system. We're not in place. We shouldn't be trying to take over everything. And it's not in the best interest of the patients for us to be pushing our own agendas onto people. I might ask, so did you actually finish your nursing degree and did you end up working as a nurse? And how
Yeah.
long after you finished your degree did you go into naturopathy?
Yeah. Yeah, so I stuck it out and I did my 3 years. But during my 3 years, I also did a certificate in diet and nutrition because I
Yeah.
just wanted to, like, I was like, no, I need to know more. So I did that, which was through Beck Health. So if anyone's wondering, I can link that to you. They do
Yeah.
quite cheap certificates that really give you the good foundations of just basic nutrition. So I did that. And then that was in my last year of nursing while studying full time. So I was a little bit crazy. I was studying at the University of Canberra, here where I live. And it was great. Like, it was good and I really enjoyed it. But I did a lot of mentoring and I really liked that kind of education space. And then I went on to do my graduate year and I did that on adult wards. So I did mine in surgical, in neurosurgery. So I did 6 months there. And then I worked on a general surgery ward. And so I saw a lot of conditions that were preventable with diet and lifestyle, which made it very frustrating in many ways. And then I went on to work in emergency for a few years. And now I'm in the NICU, which is, I've got a whole array of things.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh, so for people that may not have a nursing background, could you
Yeah.
explain what the NICU is?
Yeah, so the NICU is neonatal intensive care unit. So I work looking after little babies that are either premature or term that need respiratory support or if their blood sugars aren't stabilized. Yeah, and it's wonderful. I love it. I've only been
Beautiful.
there for a little while, but yeah, I kind of did a turn in my career because I was getting very frustrated in emergency. Just it's a very physically demanding job and you end up being very task orientated. And I needed something that was NICU, you need the medicine, you need to be helped by this profession. That's the reason we're in there. We're literally saving lives. So that's why I think that's more like where I needed to be to focus. Nursing is my nursing because I'm saving lives here. And then naturopathy is my passion on the side that can't really help in the NICU. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What is your
Yeah.
study load that you're doing? Because you're currently working in the NICU and you're a second year naturopath and you're a mum. What is your study load?
So I have been studying since, so yeah, I guess I didn't put on that I started studying in my first year out as a nurse. I started the degree as soon as I graduated. So I finished,
Wow.
started, and I did my graduate year in the same. So that was 2020, 19, 20. So I have been part-time since then, and I've probably done 2 to 3 units every 6 months. Yeah, it's very slow. I've taken maybe a 6 month break in that once. That was when I had my baby. I took that 6 months off, and it's been challenging, but I feel like it's been very steady, very, very slow.
You're a superwoman. I'm
No,
sitting here in awe. You're
no.
incredible.
I think it's just like I want it so bad, and I can't give it up. Like I want to do it, and the uni I'm at just makes it easy to do that.
Which university are you at?
I'm at Endeavour, and I know there's been like, should I stay? Should I go? But right now it's working for me, and
Yeah.
it's working for my life, and the flexibility is what I need right now. So it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You mentioned that it's challenging. I know one of the challenges I have because
Mm,
it's easy to compare yourself to a lot of other
mm,
naturopaths that you see
mm,
on Instagram and they're smashing through their degree. And I'm like, props to you. I don't see
mm,
very many naturopaths that are also young mums trying to juggle it. So
mm,
this is something that we have in common. Do you find it challenging in the sense that you wish, man, I wish I was further along in my degree? It's so frustrating that I'm only able to do one or two subjects this
mm.
term. Like, is that the challenging you're talking about? Or is it the
100.
time management? Where is it?
Yeah, it's the mental challenge of going, will I ever get there? And will I ever make it? Because it feels so far away from me right now. And
Yeah.
I definitely I'm a big comparer. I compare myself to everyone, and it's something that I've always tried to help myself through, but I just can't help it. I like look at someone and go, "Oh, I wish I just did it from the get-go." But
Yeah.
in hindsight, all of my experiences are going to make me a stronger naturopath. So I wouldn't change it. But yeah, it's sad when I go, oh, I see someone graduate and start their business, and I'm like, oh, that's going to be me. It's going to be me in 10 years. And I know that, and that's okay. But yeah, mentally that is quite challenging. And then the load and time management, and then being a nurse is very challenging physically, just trying to work around keeping up with the studies. But I think how I've tried to overcome this is focusing on I'm slowing it down to fully understand the unit, to fully understand the content, because I know then I'm not rushing it. I'm not trying to just get a P just to pass. And even though I've definitely passed and I've been so proud of myself because I've passed and I haven't failed, and the fact that I've shown up to finish it was amazing. But yeah, they're my biggest challenges for sure. Just
Yeah. I agree
knowing
with
that
you.
it's a long time for me, but I know it's going to be worth it.
I'm right here with you.
Yeah, I know. I
I'm
know.
I'm chugging away one subject at a time because I have two little children myself and I unfortunately don't have daycare. I have an amazing
Yeah.
support network that
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I have to lean on sometimes, but you
Yeah,
know,
totally.
it's okay to recognize. I would like everybody to know that it's okay to go, you know what? It's not sustainable for me to do three subjects. Like, if I want to retain this knowledge, and there's so much knowledge you have to learn in this degree,
Oh my
it's coming at you
God.
from all angles. You've got to learn like, there's so much that you have to know because you're dealing with people's health. You want to
But
know it back to front.
I don't think people realize that this is a pre-med degree.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is
it
a
is.
medical. It is, and this is what I find it challenging. And I wish there's so many things I would have done, but I'm trying to treat it like a medical degree and take it very seriously, because that is something I find challenging, is that I find it hard to convince people that this is a legitimate degree, that it's not woo-woo, and it's not just like we tell people just to take herbs and take a tea. And it's no, it's learning the physiology is exhausting and so complex, and we learn it in a way that medical school does not. Herbal pharmacology is insane. Like,
I'm
they're
not there
not
yet,
taught
but I
about
can
that.
imagine.
But I'm not even there yet, and I already know that it's coming and it's huge, and it's just something that we're not taught about. And then learning just like the root causes for, diseases, whereas med school, they learn symptom management and treatment. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
this is the nature of naturopathy. Is there's a reason why
Yeah,
it's so effective, because we
100%.
we know the body inside out, back to front.
Yep.
There's things that we can't reduce it to just a simple little text. Like it's
No.
so they're pretty complex theories as well that we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Ecosystems,
Yeah.
we physically don't have the science yet for a lot of the things that we
Mm-hmm.
found treatments that are effective that we cannot prove
Yeah.
by science yet, but that doesn't
Because
mean it's
there's
not
no
effective.
funding. People don't take it seriously.
Yeah. So you are juggling all of this. What are some of your practical ways of managing burnout?
It's definitely come with time and practice because, like I've said, I've been studying since 2017. And I think I've trialed every type of note taking, trialed every type of study method you could even think of. And I think I figured out that I work more efficiently at nighttime.
Yep.
That's always been how I work, or early in the morning. I can't work during the day. Like it's just not something I can do. So for managing burnout, I really have been, resting, like learning how to rest properly and not just like sitting on the phone, but like going for a walk and getting to bed early when you can. And just those, I think everyone agrees those practices are incredible for burnout. But
Yep.
what I have found even more so is women are particularly burnt out because we don't fully understand our bodies and how it works. And so I found that learning about like my cycle and cycle syncing has been so effective for burnout and just going, oh, I can't do massive amounts of work, smash out study during my period. I just can't. I'm exhausted,
Yep.
premenstrually, I'm so tired. And so I do remember when I was like maybe 20, I found out about cycle syncing and how some people manage their time and their calendar with their cycle. And I've been doing that for a very long time.
You
And
found
so,
that really effective?
oh, amazing. With work too, I schedule time off every 3 months. I've been doing that since I was a new grad. And if
That's
someone could
great.
take any advice, do that. Every 3 months, take a week off, and you just feel like the best version of yourself when you come back.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Great advice.
Yeah. Like even for this interview, I was like, I'm in my ovulation period. I'm gonna feel good. I want to talk about it. Like so I did secretly sync this with my cycle.
I love that. You're working with your body rather than against
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Other tools for burnout, I think you've even touched on, is just leaning on your community, like leaning
Yeah.
on your partner. I have a very supportive partner, but unfortunately he does shift work as well. So he's very burnt out and he's a paramedic and we're on a night shift work schedule for both of us. And it's very exhausting, but we have systems in place where I do one thing and he's in charge of the other thing. And we just work so well that that's how we support each other. Sometimes we can't and we're just so exhausted, but most of the time we've got really good support between each other. And my parents look after my child today and my mother-in-law comes down to help, and it's just like knowing you don't have to do this on your own, I guess. And that's not even with a child. With studying, go, hey, I need support during this weekend, can I have some help? Like it's things like that that have really pushed me through nursing and now naturopathy.
Absolute powerhouse. And what a testament as well that, like, if you want something bad enough, you can make it
Oh,
happen.
I have so many friends that are like, I don't think I could go back. It's too late. I can't study again. I'm like, I would rather be 40 and have 2 degrees and have worked for 15 years to get it than 40 and nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that is just totally, there is no time that you can't study or get what you want.
What is a particular area of interest for you within naturopathy? You've got quite a colorful background and
Mm.
quite a colorful education already. I'd love to know if there's something you're particularly interested in.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm just like a wild card. I love everything. Like I find it really hard to be one thing. I've always been like that throughout my life. I think in general, I love longevity. I love helping people be the best version of themselves in whatever season of life that they're in. And the word biohacking isn't what it is because that just gives, you know what I mean?
That's a
It makes,
buzzword, yeah.
it's a buzzword, but cycle syncing, those things like that, where it's true biohacking. If you understand how your body works, that's a huge thing that I'm interested in. And obviously how nutrition plays a role in that. But I think as well, obviously, women's health is a massive component because that's just where I've struggled with and where I was really let down as a woman. Teen health and teaching them how to understand their bodies and periods and, proper contraception, like preventing pregnancy in a safe way, in a way that doesn't, hurt the body.
Beautiful.
And then I love obviously pregnancy, postpartum, and sorry, it's everything.
No, that's
Um,
great.
and
It's
a
true
huge thing,
preventative medicine that you're looking at.
I think, and I was just about to say, I think in all, it's preventative medicine and, looking at cognition and improving brain health. And literally, I love anything that makes you live longer and, live your best life and feel good about yourself. I hope that one day I'm just a naturopath that has passions but could see everyone.
You can see the way you light up when you talk about naturopathy and the way you light, like the way you are when you talk about nursing too. Like, how different has that comparison been between this degree and your nursing degree?
It's super frustrating at times because I was actually going to study my master's at the end of my degree, and I was going to be into how nurses can utilize nutrition advice to help people through chronic diseases and what role does nurses have in this world. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough like support in my uni for me to do that, and I chose naturopathy instead, and that's just kind of on the bandwagon. But I wrote a whole thesis statement about how nurses really need to have this under their belt because we're the face of healthcare.
Literally,
We
you're
are
the bedside people. You are talking to these people all day,
we
every day.
have we have the most amazing opportunity to talk to people about preventative just lifestyle and diet, and we don't do it. And so I hope one day nutrition is a massive role in nursing, but I know that that might not happen. And so for me, I've wanted to give advice, and honestly I have, and I've gone out of my scope to what they've said, but like, I've said you could have eat more of this or do yoga. That's a really relaxation method because it's not just not something we're told we can do, and no one really knows how to do that, and feel and like you kind of feel like a imposter when you start talking about these things just from your own personal research. It's been very frustrating learning this and then going to work and going, here, have this pill for your chest pain, which we
Yeah.
know is just in a, low exercise and eating like crap. And so I remember one of the most frustrating situations I was in was I was on my general surgery ward, and a lady had just come out of surgery, and she was day 3, and she was allowed her first meal and with the rounds and the doctor, and she goes, oh, can I just have Macca's? And he goes, you can have whatever you want. And she just recently had bowel surgery, and
What?
she went and got fried chicken. And then an hour later, she goes, I'm in so much pain. And I was like, you had fried chicken, your first meal after a massive abdominal surgery. And I said to her, I was like, because I told her, I was like, oh, I probably wouldn't have the fried chicken just because it's really irritating to the stomach. It's not going to like bring that good bacteria back in after like you need a very low inflammatory food. And, nurses aren't always respected. So she didn't listen, and she went on and did this. And I was kind of like, now I have to go give you like a medicine for the pain. And so if that paints a picture of how frustrating it is knowing this world of nutrition and naturopathy, and then knowing the pharmaceutical world, which is a patient says, I have this symptom. Okay, I have to give you a pill. It's exhausting. It's so exhausting.
Yeah, yeah. And this is coming from somebody that's seeing it every day. You're in it. You're doing it. It's not,
Yeah. Well,
we're not making it
yeah.
up.
No, and this is why I had to change the career to NICU, I think, because I know that these little babies don't have chronic health problems. We're literally saving their lives. Everything we do is helping them and making them better, and isn't just a blanket. And a lot of the mums are really into nutrition, and I'm working with them breastfeeding and how to get their supply up. And we do have a scope in NICU to help people with lifestyle nutrition, and I love it.
Well
I
done
adore
you
it.
for recognizing too that I am not serving my higher purpose, and I'm not able to
Mhm.
serve the people here because I can't be, you know,
Totally.
100% on board with this. Like, well done you for going, I am making that switch. I'm enough.
I'm just about to switch out of NICU, which is sad. Like I'm excited for this next career change, but I'm also like I've been wanting this for a while because I love mentoring, I love education. So I'm about to be a CDN, which is a clinical development nurse for our graduate team. So I'm very excited for that. I
Amazing.
start in July. Yeah, which I'm
Amazing.
so
Congratulations.
excited. Thank you. It's a lot of counseling and helping people through burnout during their first year of nursing. So I'm excited to help in that space.
What is something you wish you knew before starting your studies?
I do wish someone just like said straight off the bat, it's okay to take it at your own pace. I feel like I've had to learn that a few years later, and everyone can resonate that I wish someone could just hold me, look me in my eye and say, stop comparing yourself. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really think that would have just maybe made the pressure come off me a little bit. But honestly, I also wish someone would have said, get connected to other students early. Like the minute you start studying, find the Facebook groups, find the Instagrams, make an Instagram account and follow every student naturopath, because there's so many mums, there's so many people doing it slow, there's so many people that are struggling too. And I adore the community that I've built around me. Like the naturopath student community is so amazing. And like even meeting people like you, I just like it has made it so much better and more exciting. And so because I feel like there's this notion that if you're online and studying online, you don't have that community, you're not
Yeah.
studying in person. And so if someone just said, because I didn't even realize there were Facebook groups, I didn't realize the multitude of students studying. So when I was chatting to my friend at the health food store that is here, and she's named Georgie, and she's a naturopath student too. And she was like, "Do you not know about the Facebook groups?" And I was like, "No, I don't." Like, I wish someone told me that like 2 years ago. So yeah, I think that would have just get yourself surrounded by everyone, immerse yourself in the community, volunteer and be a part of all of the live sessions with the practitioners and the companies, the like pharmaceutical companies, like just immerse yourself in everything and like really, really put yourself out there to treat it genuinely like a medical degree, like fully commit, know that what you're doing is really hard and really complex, and take the time to really understand the content, because it's not a fluffy degree. It is really hard. And it is, if you take the time to really sink in with the content, the wealth of knowledge that you'll have is just incredible. Like, yeah,
Crushed
I
it.
would,
I would love to know
I,
if there are any other resources that you love.
yeah,
And that could be like to help you academically, it could be
yeah.
socially, it could be just chilling
Totally.
out.
Through nursing, I've used this YouTube. It's called Crash Course. Have you
Yes.
heard of? Love him, love what they do. I think it is such an amazing tool. It seems childish, but it's really not, because the way he explains things is so extensive and makes it so easy to understand. Because you do your content and then you watch this and you go, oh my God, I get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it. And my mentor her name's Brooke, and she's a Good Kind and naturopathy, and she's an incredible resource. Her content is so in depth, and her knowledge on like skin and the gut she's an incredible tool and a really like amazing person in that field. And she offers mentoring. So that's another incredible resource, which I have something coming out with Studious Naturopath about mentoring, but yeah, something in the works, which you'll see soon, which is
Yes.
exciting.
We have to talk about Studious Naturopath
We will
because
talk about Studious
we've
Naturopath.
this isn't the first episode for people that might be
No.
listening and think that this is the first one. It's not. So I've had people mention in when I've asked that question about favorite resources, they've mentioned your product. Can you please
What?
tell us what is Studious
Amazing.
Naturopath and how did it come about?
Oh, that makes me so happy, because honestly, it wasn't something that I like made into a business. Like it was genuinely just an idea that I had that came from nursing, because in nursing we have something called like reference cards. We use them on our ID bag. So we look at, what is the normal blood pressure and what spinal dermatome means that it's connected to this body. Like it's those types of things. We just need to access it. And like emergency drugs like adrenaline using in like life-saving procedures. And when I was studying, I was like, I was making very similar flashcards like this. And then I was like, oh, why don't I just make it the same as a nursing reference card? Nice and simple on a little, ring that I can just grab and it's there. And I was like, I could do this. Like, and so I made like a draft of my materia medica units, and like obviously the names, the doses. And I was like, no, this could definitely be a thing. I feel like people would really appreciate if it was on like a nice, simple thing. You just whip it out during your consults. You're not flipping through a textbook. And I made a draft, and then I used it during my tutorials as just a piece of paper on like a document. And I was like, this works. This works really well. And so I don't know. I made one set. I drafted on Canva. I printed out. I laminated it myself. And then I was like, well, this is great. And then one night I was like thinking, I was like, I think I should make this like a legitimate brand. Like, I think I need to make this a business. Like, I'll just pop an Etsy store up and I'm going to share it on Facebook and see what happens. And one night I thought, Studious Naturopath. It's got a good ring to it. It means what it is. You're studying and you're a naturopath, and this is helpful. And I took some photos with the one sample I made. I hadn't made any more than one. And I remember going, well, I'll see what happens. I doubt anyone would want it. Like, it's silly. It's just a tool. And I made an Etsy store with one photo and I posted on Facebook group. And I went away that night for a camping in a place with no reception. And in 2 minutes, I had 5 orders. And I was like, wait, what? And I blessed my partner at the time. He was like, oh, do you really want to do a business? Like, it's a lot of financial things, and I wouldn't worry about it right now. Like, and he just genuinely just didn't know. And I got an order, and I was like I was freaking out because I was more freaking out because I was like, wait, now I actually have to make them. And so if those 5 orders went to 20 orders, it just did not stop. And the positive feedback that before they had even received the product was literally like, this is going to save me. And what it is literally all about, what Studious Naturopath is about, is giving people time back. It is so easy to have tools like this to make studying flowy better. And like, I just wanted to make a difference and give people the tools that help me and have helped me through nursing, to show them that you don't have to just suffer through a tutorial and use your textbooks. Like, you can make it so much easier. And I think there's a lot of pressure on people to learn everything, when really, if you can have something like the tools and just go, oh, yeah, this is that. It's an endocrine system herb, done. That's a recall technique to help you remember what those herbs do and remember how they're used in the body. And so a lot of challenges came from that. And I learned a lot about running a business very quickly. And like I said, I had only made one set. I had not made more. And so my process was printing, cutting, laminating, ringing myself. And so I got my friend Naomi in, and I was like, we're doing this, we're sorting it out. And I tried to print shipping labels, and I print them upside down and on the wrong side of the sticker. And it was just, it took a long time, but eventually I got my flow. And at the time, my daughter was like 4 months old. And so I felt like she was a blessing at the time. She was so chill that she let me be able to do that. And yeah, I think as a business venture, it has brought nothing but positivity. And I think it's made me a very resilient business owner as well. And after my 100th sale, which I just can't even believe that was a thing, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud. I was like, I need to make this like a proper tool that's not just a laminated piece of paper. And so I went on to meet with manufacturers and make them like a solid card. And there was a lot of challenges with that. And I had a release date for these, the physical set, which is so much better. And then the night of my product release, the manufacturers sent me a message saying they'd stuffed the colors up. And I had to pull the plug on my pre-sale, and it was horrendous. I felt just so defeated, and I just felt like I'd failed, like just that classic mind that I have, that, I'd make one, it wasn't even my error, and, it turned to shit. And anyway, everyone in my community at the time was like, don't stop, like, keep going, it's fine, like, these things happen. And I definitely did stop. I just took a break because I was like, I felt so defeated. I was like, no, like, I worked so hard to get this up, and then it's just like, stop. I didn't want to take anyone's money until I absolutely knew that this was perfect. And then it was finally time, and I got my orders and released them, and really it's been flourishing since. And there's many things on the horizon, which I'm excited,
Amazing.
which I might tell you, because I feel like when this podcast comes out, they'll be out. So it's very exciting. I'm actually bringing out a new set of cards.
Ooh. Wait, is this
Yes.
something that you're like, don't put in the podcast or put in the podcast?
Yeah, put in the podcast. I'm more than likely sure that these cards will be out because they're already in the process of being printed.
Yeah.
They are going to be the clinical skills assessment cards. So,
Amazing.
so you're going to have all of your normal ranges for blood pressure, heart rate, temperature, and what that means, and how to take those assessments. And then I've got a respiratory assessment. How do you assess someone's respiratory system? There's going to be things about hypertension and blood pressure and how to stage them. And I also have a very exciting blood analysis card set coming out too, which is still in the works, but it's on the horizon. It's going to tell you what that blood unit means. I'm not going to put the ranges because naturopathy, it's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
varied. Nothing that's normal. And it's going to be a definition-based card set and, how to treat iron deficiencies and that flow chart. So I'm very excited for that.
How amazing. What an incredible resource. I love that
Yeah.
you were creative enough as well to go, like, I'm a student and I'm going to be a student for a long time. What is something
Yeah.
that I can do to
Yeah.
make myself valuable? Now, as a
Yeah.
student, it's also showing the importance as well of establishing your community early. You don't know, you might come out with an amazing product as a student and you've got a community behind you that's backing
Yeah.
you.
I'm so happy, and I'm so happy that I went for it and did it because it is obviously helping so many people. And that's really all I could ask for. And whatever positive change comes from that is just the added bonus.
Would you say that this has been one of your most favorite opportunities that's presented itself to you since starting your degree?
100%. It's been so much fun. Like, I have a lot of imposter syndrome, and I feel like as a nurse, I'd have that standpoint of I can bring out tools like this because I do this. This is my profession. This is what I do, especially when it comes to like clinical skills and analyzing blood tests like that. That's my profession. So it's given me a way to blend them both, and that's been incredible.
So would you say that that's what's next for you on your horizon is more studious naturopath? And is there
And
anything else that
yeah,
we should be watching out for?
yeah, like I obviously, like I said, 10 years, I feel like that's when I'm going to really be a practitioner and I would love to own my own business. That's been my core, dream from the beginning. And I think the way that Studious Naturopath is it's helping me in my studies anyways. And what I'm doing in my studies is making products for Studious Naturopath that help other students. So in the horizon, focusing on Studious Naturopath, bringing out more study tools because I can't stop. Like obviously this is something that I need to keep going with. And there's definitely moments where I'm like, this is financially really hard
Yeah.
and everything needs money, unfortunately. And we just aren't in a position where I can, produce 5 different sets of cards as much as I want to. And that's why I do a lot of free things too, because I know people aren't in a great financial position. All this is going to build my ability to own my own business one day. And that's all I can be grateful for. And whenever that happens in however it looks, yeah, that's my dream. I have looked at options of working for pharmaceutical companies to be in their like research team, and that would be something I would love to do if while I'm still studying or as a nurse, there's lots of opportunities for nursing to be in research. So I would still love to do that. And I think that would be a good way to maybe leave bedside nursing
Yes.
to become more aligned into what my passions are, which is like preventative health. And yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And sorry, you want to be, just to clarify, and for me to get my head around it, you want to do
Mhm.
this while you're still studying.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would love to
Beautiful.
have both, research opportunities as a job and then also keep studying and get to that like foundations of owning my own practice. Yeah. And I
Beautiful.
definitely considered leaving nursing to like work in a health food store, but I think I might be better off going into research in medical field to try and make a difference in that area with the knowledge that I have. And then I know that owning my own business will come later. Yeah.
Do you feel like the uni has sort of given you a, like your uni in particular, have you felt like they've given you the subjects, or are there like sort of academic advisors that you can talk to help guide you into those sorts of pathways?
Yeah, so I not endeavors. Well, I'm online, so I've never been at the uni and campus, and I feel like it would be a lot different if I was at the campus. It's not something that I have pursued to like talk to people, but I know that they would have to be people you could talk to. It just depends on what area of interest you want, whether that's actually speaking with the coordinator of the degree, and I'm sure you can get into contact. If people wanted to be in research, there's ways through it, and I know
Yeah.
that it wouldn't be hard, but I haven't really necessarily asked the questions yet. So that might be something that I'll look into next year, only because I'm in Canberra and there's no unis here. And eventually I'm going to have to move to study at campus. And that is our plan.
So like
But
physically picking up and
yeah,
moving house?
I'll literally physically have to leave Canberra to finish. And that's just something that isn't feasible this year, maybe next year.
So would you say that that's been one of your biggest barriers for study is your location as well?
100%. Like to keep the motivation up, being online is really hard. And I was going to say, like, one of my challenges is literally convincing people that what I'm doing is legitimate, and that sometimes that's my family or my close friends. Like, I think because no one else is in this world with me. There's been a couple of people, but then like one of my close friends is, and she's awesome. I'm so glad I found her. And I found her name's Evelyn, and I found her through Instagram, and we've just connected, and it's been amazing doing this and pursuing this career kind of on my own, and believing in myself is really hard. So I'm really hoping when we move on campus, I'll just be immersed and surrounded by same, like-minded people, and it will make it a lot easier.
Yeah, beautiful. I personally find as well, I go through moments where I've got low motivation, and then it's actually through editing this podcast that I start getting inspired and getting fired
Oh,
up again. Just listening to other
oh
people's
yeah.
stories, that's a huge,
So good.
huge way to get inspired and remind yourself
Mhm.
why you're doing
Mhm.
it. Now, where can our audience find you if they want to see more of your content? This is your moment to shine. Go for it.
You. So I have a couple of accounts. Obviously, my biggest one is Studious Naturopath, which is just at Studious Naturopath, nice and simple. I'm mainly on Instagram. I have a TikTok, but I haven't really delved into that side yet. But that's definitely a space you need to keep watching. So there's going to be lots of stuff coming out. I have got another Instagram called Paris Living Naturopathy. That's more about like sharing what I'm doing in my life and how I go about weaving naturopathy into practices I do every day.
Fantastic. Thank you
And
so
also my
much.
website, Studious Naturopath. Yeah.
All of that
Sorry,
is
I
going
had
to
to think
be,
about that
of course,
part.
of course. All of that is going to be in the link in the description for anybody
Awesome.
that's curious about it. Please go check out her stuff. It's amazing. And there's going to be some goodies on there already by the time
Yeah,
you hear this.
really. I know. So many cool things will come out, hopefully.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it if you've made it this far. If you like the interview and you like what I do, please rate and follow the podcast on your chosen listening provider, as it not only notifies you of new episodes, but it also helps with my visibility on the platforms. If you're interested in being featured on the podcast, I've streamlined the process by creating a contact form on my website where you can say hi and let me know that you're interested. All of my social media accounts are linked there as well on my website, and there's even some podcast merch on there that's just come out from my husband. Thank you so much. As always, I'll link everything in the description that was spoken about on today's episode. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.